36 laps of action about to begin here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Looking forward to action beginning. This is your front row on the right-hand side as Antonio Finks da Costa. 5 red lights are on. It's go in Mexico. Good start from Wehrlein. Great start from da Costa, who immediately tries to chop over on his teammates. Side by side they run down towards the first turn. Who gets the position? It's Pascal Wehrlein. And look at John Vergne going around the outside and trying to off onto the grass. There is Mitch Evans. Just about manages to keep it facing in the right direction. And on the straight and narrow, up the inside, we're looking in towards turn 3. Evans on the inside there of the DS Penske. We ride on board here with Oliver Rowland in 4th position at the moment. Down in towards the hairpin section we go, and moves being made there on the outside. That's Jake Dennis trying to have a look on the Nissan, but no way through for him as it all bunches up through there.
Very clean run through there for everybody. Didn't see any front wings going off or anyone really going wide apart from Evans. So a good clean start as they head towards the chicane. Here's Jean-Eric Vergne having a look around the outside of Evans. They give each other a nice bit of room there.
Oh, it is super tight through that chicane as we go down. Mitch Evans making a slight defensive move there as we enter the stadium section here.
Yeah, Gunther there losing positions off the start. He was down in about 8th position a couple of corners ago. Into the stadium we go. You can see the fans lining astern around the circuit, but the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches with an absolute dream start. Wehrlein getting a textbook launch away from the lights, and da Costa following him through in towards that first corner. You can see there David Beckman just going over the curb, and that's his teammate Dan Ticktum, who's in some strife down at the exit of the stadium section. Plummets down to last position then by the looks of things there for the British driver, so something has gone awry for him. As we come across the timing line though, look at Oliver Rowland making a move here on Jean-Eric Vergne down towards the first corner. Side by side we go, Nissan versus DS Penske, and Rowland gets the place. He's up into 3rd.
Good move there, and actually he's slightly wrong-footed, Jean-Eric Vergne, so he's got Jake Dennis now all over the back of him. So Rowland, as we've seen on previous occasions, doesn't like to just sit back in the pack. He likes to gain track positions early on and just get himself into that lead pack early.
Cedar Mahindra there on the outside as well as Eder Mortara looking for a move on Nico Müller. Nothing doing into the complex. Heading in towards the stadium section we go once again. You can see nose-to-tail action here between these drivers. Mitch Evans there not making particularly as much of an impact as he would have liked on this race so far. Started in 5th place, down into 7th at the middle of the 2nd lap of this one.
Yeah, I think something happened with Ticktum around that sort of Jake Hughes, Maloney area, because there's a gap you can see in the pack that's opened up there, and that's where he was sort of starting. So I'm sure we'll get a replay at some point, but so far all 22 cars still up and running.
Yep, so we're coming towards the end of lap 2. Drivers will be now of course able to activate attack mode very shortly. That means they go up to 350 kilowatts from 300 kilowatts of power, and of course can go into 4-wheel drive. But you can see our virtual race engineer says it's not the go moment yet. Race is going to be pretty much flat out from the start here, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems that they've got enough energy to really not have to manage it too much here compared to our other circuits, that's for sure.
So in towards turn 3 we go. You can see very much nose to tail here at the moment, with the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches having an absolute blinder of a run. You wonder whether Jean-Eric Vergne is going to be able to retaliate on Oliver Rowland. Muller there still with Eder Mortara looking for a move. Let's see what happened to Ticktum on the opening lap. So have a look back, the fluorescent yellow Cupra Kiro. A bit of contact here on the inside.
Should we go for a save? What do you want to do? Think fast, guys, come on. I don't know what to do because it's just...
So it's Maloney that got into the side of Hughes, then into Ticktum subsequently as well. That's a shame there for Dan Ticktum, and he's actually in the pit lane now as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is he was in that sort of area, wasn't he, at the start, and got tagged. But it looks like at this stage the Porsches aren't really charging away. There was some speculation that they are going to run an aggressive race and try and pull away. But actually, the pace isn't that quick. 1:17.8 last time round, sorry, 1:16.7 last time round. And it's allowed the whole pack to bunch back up. Taylor Barnard, by the way, the first of the drivers to take the attack mode, and he's gone for 4 minutes, it seems.
Yeah, so 4 minutes, there's 8 minutes of attack mode available. They must do it in 2 deployments, 4 minutes and 4 minutes, 6 minutes and 2 minutes, or 2 minutes and 6 minutes. Barnard going for a 4 and 4 strategy, and he's got early in the race whilst the pack is bunched up. Billy, he's trying to make ground here whilst everyone is pretty close together on the circuit.
Yeah, and that's where the nature of this circuit might make things a little bit more challenging for him, because you can see how bunched up the pack is, but there's not too many overtakes happening at the minute. I think if you defend well at this circuit, it's tricky to pass the car in front. So Taylor Barnard's going to have to do some work here.
And he's dropped back a bit, hasn't he? So he's ended up, by taking that attack mode, he's got a gap of 1 and a bit seconds to Lucas Di Grassi. So first of all, he's got to use energy and that extra power to get back up to Degrassi and then think about overtaking there. So up at the front, though, is still the Porsche's 1-2. Rowland still sitting behind at this stage.
Yeah, Nissan have brought a plethora of software upgrades to this season, and they've made a significant impact on the Jaguars and the Porsches. They are looking very close. Bit wide there for Wehrlein going through that final corner, and I wonder if he's just trying to set himself up for a better exit coming out of that Peraltada. Because, of course, he hasn't got the advantage of the slipstream like Da Costa and Rowland do.
It's worth mentioning, obviously, the slipstream effect still is in effect, but at this altitude, it is reduced because we are at 2,200 meters here in Mexico City, as we've got Oliver Rowland looking around the outside at turn 3 here.
He's trying to make a move there, but Da Costa's got it covered for now.
I think Da Costa's getting a little bit impatient behind the other Porsche there. He's having to defend the inside line. We saw into turn 1, turn 3, again in turn 5. So they're playing a bit of a team game in some ways, and I think maybe they've decided, because they want to, they're going to back the pack up and just save energy for Wehrlein. I can imagine them doing a swap, giving Da Costa a chance to get in front, him to save energy as well, and then they're in control of this race, and there'll be a point where they've banked enough energy they could go. The problem is, of course, everyone else is also going slowly and saving energy at the same time.
Yeah, just looking at the difference between those that have used attack mode, which is currently only Taylor Barnard in terms of lap time to the leaders, 1.5 seconds quicker than Pascal Wehrlein on the last lap. So that is the effect of the attack mode, whilst also him navigating traffic. So it's probably more than that in effect.
Yeah, and now we've got Sam Bird, David Beckman, Stoffel Van Dorn, as also the other 3 cars have taken attack mode.
Yeah, you can see there a bit of a gap beginning to build at the end of the drivers who, of course, have not taken attack mode. The ones that have dropped a little bit further back off of the remaining pack at the moment. But yeah, keen to see what's going to happen here with the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches. You'd imagine they're going to work together. They're in this Noah's Ark formation 2x2 at the moment, and they can, as Karun said, back the pack up and try and create that gap, so when they do take attack mode they won't lose as much time and try and keep track position.
I think that's the key thing when you use it, is to not give up a lot of positions, to then hold yourself up while you're trying to use that attack mode to the best of your abilities. I'll be keen to see what the front leaders do in terms of their strategy. Are they going to hold that attack mode towards the end of the race but risk potentially safety car or incidents happening?
Looks like Wehrlein's pushing on a little bit more here. Here we go, though. Look at this. Taylor Barnard trying to make a move there on Nick de Vries down into turn 12, but nothing doing for him, even with the extra power and the 4-wheel drive. He wasn't able to get his way through on the Mahindra.
No, and this is going to be his last window here, isn't it? He's got 15 seconds to go off this attack mode, so he could get the advantage through this final corner and get the acceleration to get past, possibly down the straight.
Oh, de Vries over defending against Taylor like an absolute madman.
Yeah, understood, mate. We know what he's like. Okay, so we should get position switch turn 1, position switch turn 1.
So Barnard and Bird then changing positions. Now Bird with the attack mode, with the extra power and the 4-wheel drive, trying to use that to his advantage. Whereas, of course, behind Barnard, you've got David Beckman, who is also in that attack mode. So he's now going to have to defend with his life to try and make sure that the Cupra Kiro doesn't find his way through.
Yeah, he did a good job there into turn 3 to hold off Beckman, because Beckman was coming at him with big momentum. We've got a few lunges going down into turn 5 and 6
Beckman
there.
Yeah, we have Gunter and Evans further up the order there as well. But yeah, Beckman trying to make some moves.
Yeah, but he squeezed Barnard out wide, and that's kind of allowed Van Dorn to get in amongst it as well. So we're back on board. This is the other Neon McLaren here. So Sam Bird having a little look into the stadium.
Yeah, de Vries there just defending the line, isn't he? Going in towards the stadium section we go, and again de Vries chopping the nose off of Sam Bird, the Briton.
Yeah, but that's fair game. I mean, you know, he's not around to just wave people past. That's what he's there to do. So this was Bird under attack early on with the 2 Mahindras, yeah.
So you've got de Vries there, who lunged his way through on the inside. Mortara was up in front of it. So keep an eye out stage right. You're going to get a Mahindra of de Vries lunging his way through. And that, in turn, gave Bird nowhere to go, sent him into the side of Edo Mortara.
It almost looked like it slightly distracted Sam's gaze, and he just accidentally clipped the back of Mortara there. It seemed like a little bit of a mistake. Luckily, as Karun's touched on earlier in the show, these nose cones now, they're pretty robust, it's fair to say.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Rowland on the outside, in towards the right-hander. That might allow an opportunity here for Jean-Eric Verne to take advantage. No, not quite at the moment. Rowland manages to hold on to the position, but Verne there ready to try and join in the action. He goes left, he goes right. He's looking to the inside into turn 12. Turn 10, rather, I should say, but nothing doing for him there. Not able to find his way past.
So none of the top 9 have used their attack mode as yet. Let's have a look as they come into the stadium section. This is, of course, where the attack mode activation corner is, and we'll see if any of those leading drivers have a go. Sam Bird has got past the Mahindra there of Nick de Vries.
I wonder whether the drivers who are sitting behind the Porsches are just going to try and wait for the top two to go into attack mode, then try and follow the same strategy.
Yeah, but personally, I think you need to keep one of your attack modes for late in the race. I just think if you get a late safety car, or you get something late in the race of an opportunity where the pack is bunched up, if you've got attack mode and your rivals haven't, you're going to gain massively. The risk, of course, is that you might run out of time to use it. So, yeah, I personally, I think that is something we're going to see unfold in this season, is people are going to try and keep one of their attack modes for later on.
It's interesting with that, Corinne, though, because it's quite an easy track from the early laps of what we've seen so far to defend your position. You've seen a few drivers using defensive lines and managing to hold off people with attack mode for at least a few laps. So it could come down to, you know, small margins of defensive driving paying off at the end.
Speaking of that, we saw Oliver Rowland defending against Max Günther very nicely there. Team radio.
At the moment we are Zulu Charlie, and there is no car in attack behind.
So no cars in attack behind there for Wehrlein, nothing for him or indeed Da Costa to worry about in particular at the moment. In towards the attack mode activation area we go, and you can see there the top 10 all deciding to carry on as normal. Only one driver in attack mode at the moment, that is Nick de Vries. Here are the fans watching on, they're loving it here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, a sellout crowd here this weekend, and you just get the sense that this is going to be starting to bubble up, waiting for it to kick on there as we see Wehrlein coming across the timing line, lap 10 out of 36, leading the way. And look there, moves being made here. Nick de Vries defending against Stoffel van Dorn down into the first turn, again the Maserati. De Vries there just behind David Beckman in the Cupra Kiro. Into the left-hander we go. You can see the different surface changes. We've touched on that quite a few points over the course of this weekend. It was wet actually earlier on this morning due to some overnight and early morning rain, and it made the track very, very slippery indeed. I suppose the disadvantage if you take a attack mode later on in the race is if you end up with a safety car or a yellow flag or something like that, you're not able to use that attack mode to your advantage. We saw that in Sao Paulo.
Yeah, it's a risk versus reward game, isn't it, that you got to play. But we'll see. You know, we're coming up to 1/3 distance now, and so far it does seem like the top 9 are all happy to just sit and wait, apart from, it looks like, and the Andretti car. Nico Muller's now gone to take that.
I was just going to mention Nico Muller because he's a driver that's made up 3 places and hasn't used attack mode until just now. So he's actually been making up places without having used that yet. So I've got a feeling when he uses it now, he could make up a few more positions. I think his pace so far has been pretty strong.
The problem here is, though, he's rejoined behind Nick de Vries, who is also in attack mode. So he's going to lose a little bit of time just there. But de Vries, I tell you, I think on the whole, though, Sam Bird is one of the winners here because he's managed to gain a couple of track positions, hasn't he? Like you said with Muller, they've gained net track position there.
Oh, hang on a minute, look at that. There's Nico Muller trying his way on the outside of Nick de Vries into the hairpin section, turns 5-6. And look at that then, up in front of de Vries, you've got Bird going side by side here with the Mahindra. Once again, these two have had a bit of history earlier on in this race. De Vries on the inside, he's going to bottleneck up here, and Bird shuffled out almost to the wall. That could allow an opportunity for Muller to strike, and he does. Up the inside, through into turn 9. Muller takes the position and goes up into the top 10.
Nick de Vries there, he's only got 20 seconds of attack mode left, so you could see he was getting a little bit desperate to make those passes count whilst he's still got it.
So through into the stadium we go once more. See the fans again absolutely loving this one here. End of lap 6, Wehrlein became only the 3rd driver in Formula E history to lead 100 laps at a single Formula E venue, joining Sam Bird and Antonio Felix da Costa. End of lap 12 we now come to, and you can see 25 laps to go here in this one. 2 Maseratis, and look at this. This is how the attack mode is used, and you can see Nico Muller with 4-wheel drive with an extra 50 kilowatts of power going up the inside. He made that look easy on Nick de Vries into turn 1.
The downside of having attack mode is that you also use more energy. Now they've all got the same amount of energy to use for the entire race, and it's getting a bit close there, but yeah, Muller, it's all sort of settled down, isn't it?
Yeah, Muller just trying to find his way through on Mitch Evans, and doing so as well. So Muller now, of course, in attack mode, And now we get our first look at the energy. We'll come back to that thought in a few moments' time, because Muller is really trying hard here to make these positions up whilst the field is all concertinas up. His next target will be his teammate, Jake Dennis.
Dennis and Acosta have done a great job with the energy, haven't they? They're the ones who've managed to bank off the lead pack. They're the ones who've managed to bank the most there. But tell you what, it's a bit disappointing that Cassidy, Bohemian Friends there, down at the back, not really making much progress.
I was down talking to Sailor Barnard on the grid just before the start of the race, and he said the problem is, because of the nature of this circuit, the way the racing turns out to be, overtaking is going to be difficult. He said what we really need is a safety car to try and bunch the field up and hope that we get lucky with the attack mode activation, that we decide to do it at the right point. Across the timeline we go then, so you can see the two Takoy Porsches still in exactly the same places as to where they started the race. Rowland up into third position. You wonder who is going to bite first.
Keep focusing on your efficiency. Good job so far. So we are same energy
there as well
compared to everyone, only Antonio at the moment, 0.5%.
Vern looking on the outside of Rowland, possibly the door opening here for Dennis as well. Dennis is going to walk straight through it if he can, but Vern does have track position through to the left-hander. Here comes Nico Müller as well. He's still in attack mode. He's going to get 2 for the price of 1. Down into turn 9, he's on the outside line. Vern defends, chops his nose off. Dennis is there as well.
That's not very smart tactical racing there from Andretti. They should have told Dennis that Muller's got the attack mode, and they should have, you know, found a way to position Muller. But has Muller got a problem there? He just seems to have backed off.
Yeah, he's slowing a fair old rate.
He's slowing, and he's backing. Oh, he's making the gap. That's what he's doing. He's making the gap for Dennis to come out in front with his attack mode. So that's the tactical game they're playing. Is they've recognized, okay, Muller's only got a few seconds left. Let's not bother, you know, letting him get in front. Let's use him to help Dennis out.
Problem here for Dennis is, as you said earlier on, Corinne, he's now in attack mode. He's got extra power available, but he's now got a gap to make up to Jean-Eric Verne up in front.
I don't think he'll mind having a bit of clear track in these early stages, because at least he can use that attack mode to full effect rather than being stuck behind the car. But if you're Nico Müller, you'd be feeling a little bit hard done by, because he's been making good progress so far, and he was almost used as a bit of a guinea pig there to sacrifice opening up a bit of a gap for Jake Dennis when he could have been focusing going forward. We've got some battling down into the hairpin still.
Yeah, Rowland having a look there on Da Costa, and Verne also ready to try and pick up the pieces as well. It stays as it is. It's so easy to defend into that corner, but look at Dennis on the attack mode then with four-wheel drive, with extra power, looking to the outside line, and he's almost into the back there of the Nissan. Yeah, the DS.
Yeah, but he'll have better traction there. So he's gone past Jean-Eric Verne, better traction out of the chicane. He's now got Rowland ahead of him, and will have nearly 3 minutes of attack mode. So we should see Dennis drive past.
Oh, Wehrlein in.
Wehrlein in.
Yeah,
and Jean-Eric Verne in.
Oh, look at this, side by side here between the two Takoy Porsches. They're going to try and work together. As you can see, it's pretty tight, though, going through there. It could leave them under a bit of pressure here, because if Jake Dennis can get a good run out, he's in attack mode there as well. Rowland's in a driver who's not, but he's up the inside, into the Perotada, to the roars of the crowd here in Mexico. He's up through and into second place against Antonio Felix da Costa. And here comes Jake Dennis. Side by side they go down the start-finish straight. Dennis on the inside, trying to make a move. Can he do it? He's on the inside. Da Costa's going to get shuffled out onto the grass. Verne's going to look and try and take advantage as well. We go into turn 3. Wehrlein leads. Rowland in second. Dennis now up into third. Side by side between Verne and Da Costa for fourth place there as well. And Verne just about manages to hold on to fourth.
Da Costa was... Oh.
Rowland and Dak not in attack.
Yeah, Da Costa was trying to do a lot there to help Wehrlein keep track position, but in the end, he just got completely wrong-footed. Rowland, you know, was aggressive, went past, Dennis went past, and then got squeezed. He got squeezed out, Da Costa, which also allowed Jean-Eric Verne to get through. So, yeah, I think Da Costa will regret trying to help Wehrlein out so much there, because it's ended up hurting him.
Just in on our timing screen, the incident that we saw with Dan Tixon, it was under investigation. No further action from that one, so a shame there for him, but he can go out and get some good laps in for the Cupra Kiro team, try and get some development mileage for that outfit. Of course, a customer Porsche powertrain for the Cupra team, and we'll see how their rate of progress continues over the course of the 2025 season. So Wehrlein, Dennis and Verne all in active attack mode at the moment. Rowland and Da Costa have not yet activated theirs, so they're the outliers, and you can see their moves being made as Barnard and Bird, in fact, actually having a look on the inside. Barnard, does he get through? He does. And just manages to make the position there on Stoffel Van Dorn, as well as David Beckman.
Attack boss behind. Ooh, help me now.
So team radio there for Antonio Felix da Costa. He wants a bit of help here.
I don't really know where he's going to get that help from, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is they it's worked out fine for Wehrlein, hasn't it?
Dennis looking for the lead on the inside into the right-hander of turn 12. Side by side they go. Wehrlein's going to have the inside line here. Dennis is going to try and firm it around the outside. The crowd in the stadium are going to absolutely love this. Wehrlein's a bit wide. Dennis looks for the switchback on the inside. The door goes firmly shut though as Rowland goes into attack mode, as well as Antonio Felix da Costa, and they have changed positions. Dennis now leads.
And no love lost there between Jake Dennis and Pascal Wehrlein. We've seen them come to blows many times in the last couple of seasons, and it's Jake Dennis who now leads this race, having started in 7th place on the grid.
Yeah, that's brilliant progress there for Jake Dennis, and he'll be hoping to try and continue that. The problem as well here for the likes of Vern and Wehrlein is they've gone out of their first attack mode activation. Rowland and da Costa now in it. They've got the power and the extra performance and four-wheel drive. Are they going to be able to use it and try and make positions like we saw Dennis just do?
Yeah, this is where you'll be seeing Vern and Wehrlein looking in their mirrors, trying to defend their positions hard. But Jake Dennis and Pascal Wehrlein, going back to that battle, that came down to a difference in terms of how they've used their attack mode. Jake Dennis, he used 4 minutes. Pascal Wehrlein took it, he only used 2. So at this stage, he had attack mode, Jake Dennis, but Pascal Wehrlein didn't. And this was bold overtaking, bouncing over the curbs, ambitious, sliding all over the place, but managed just to hook it up. Pascal lost out to Jake Dennis through that stadium section. Really aggressive driving from Jake Dennis there.
Yeah, hugely impressive stuff from Dennis and Wehrlein there. So they continue on leading the way. Just up in front there, that was Dan Tixon, who of course is out of sequence compared to the rest of them. Into attack mode then for the second time goes Nico Müller. Mitch Evans also following them through. They slot in between the Mahindra of Nick de Vries.
So Rowland's got another 30-odd seconds to go off attack mode. This is his chance to try and get drive and traction out of this final corner. Use that attack mode and the four-wheel drive to get up to Pascal Wehrlein here.
Down towards the first corner, of course, da Costa with an extra 2 minutes available because he went for a 4-minute deployment in the early stages of this race. You can still see that he's got another 4 minutes there remaining into turn 3. Rowland, Wehrlein all defending and going for that tighter line on the apex of the corner. And Rowland now about to exit the attack mode. Team radio for da Costa.
Can I pass Pascal if I get there?
A-firm. Rowland.
And da Costa does.
Well, no, he's past Rowland because Rowland's out of attack mode. So that's a classic move we're going to see again and again is traction. Four-wheel drive, you can accelerate better, and now he's gone past Wehrlein as well. So da Costa now up into 2nd place, and he should take the lead of the E-Prix in the next lap or so, because he'll get another lap and a half of attack mode.
And just looking at who's used the right amount of attack mode or different amounts, Jake Dennis used 4 minutes. Da Costa is using his first 4 minutes as well. So if da Costa passes Jake Dennis on track, they've used the same amount of attack mode. So that will be for track position.
So coming through the Perotada we go, and this should be quite easy for Antonio Felix da Costa to set it up. He's got four-wheel drive, he's got extra power underneath his right foot. It's a good exit though for Jake Dennis, but I don't think it's going to be anything to thwart the challenge here. Dennis goes for the defensive line, and da Costa has to live and fight another day. Can't make a move into that first corner. Could be about the exit coming out of it though, and look at that, there we go. Da Costa goes back through and into the race lead. He demotes the Andretti down into 2nd place and possibly allows an opportunity for Wehrlein to try and attack against the former world champion as well. Dennis knows that, defends into turns 5.
But Dennis is the big winner, isn't it, on this first round of attack modes? He is the big gainer who's gone from starting down.
Here we go, on the inside, trying
Good job. Drive to your targets.
Da Costa not able to make the move there on Jake Dennis into the chicane.
Wehrlein, you mean?
My eyes are looking down the leaderboard slightly to the other Andretti of Nico Müller. He's using another amount of attack mode. He's going to have all of his attack mode used. I wonder if Andretti are playing a team game here, trying to get him in front of Pascal Wehrlein to give Jake Dennis a bit of an advantage.
So Wehrlein then still sitting in 3rd place. Müller and Evans also in attack mode, as you can see there in the background as well. That could leave Oliver Rowland under a bit of pressure here, and will do so, because look at Müller. He's got four-wheel drive. He's got the inside line to the Perotada. It's a brave driver who can find their way through on the inside, but Müller's trying to invent something. Out of the final corner we go. Nico Müller going up through and into 4th position there with a minute of attack mode remaining.
Yeah, and this is where it could get critical, as Billy was saying. If he gets his move done ahead of Wehrlein, then he can basically hold Wehrlein back and allow Dennis to get his attack mode done without losing track position. Oh, here we go.
Evans,
Evans around the outside. And he is in attack mode. So he watches traction, watches acceleration out of this corner compared to Rowland, who's only going to be able to use the rear tires to put the power down. Want to look further back as Evans got the move done. We can't quite see it.
Yeah,
yes,
he has. Yeah, nice and easy there for Mitch Evans, able to use the advantage in performance that he's got to get the position ahead now then of Nico Müller. Of Oliver Rowland, I should say, rather. Coming into the stadium we go. Nose-to-tail action here between these drivers. Two Andretti's now sandwiching Pascal Wehrlein. Wehrlein going in for his second attack mode deployment, though. So he's the first driver from the top 5 to go and do so. You can see our virtual race engineer says Dennis needs to push to take attack mode so that he can stay ahead of Oliver Rowland here.
Yeah, but Rowland is now dropped behind Wehrlein and Evans. So we need to see how this plays out. There's a few more moving parts here. So Wehrlein's now got 6 minutes of attack mode. The key for him is, can he use it and get himself back into the lead? He's got 4 cars ahead of him. If he picks one off, 6 minutes, he'd probably get 3 or 4 laps. He could pick them off one lap by each and end up in the lead of this race here.
So down in towards the right-hander of turn 5 we go. Wehrlein then in attack mode against Mitch Evans, who's now back into the normal 300 kilowatts, and this is where you can see the advantage of the traction and the four-wheel drive. He's just able to drive past Mitch Evans like he's standing still. Into the chicane we go, and he's up through and into 4th position is the reigning world champion. Next target, Nico Müller in 3rd.
And how hard is Nico Müller going to defend here? Because Jake Dennis will be hoping very aggressively indeed. As we come into the stadium section, he has a look up the inside, but Nico Müller positions his car nicely there.
Yeah, you can make a move there. We saw that, and we have seen that in previous seasons, but into attack mode then goes Müller. He's going to drop behind, Jake Dennis rather, I should say. He's going to drop behind his teammate then, Nico Müller, but stays ahead, crucially, of Pascal Wehrlein here.
Yeah, that was super important there. What Müller did on the way into the stadium by holding back Wehrlein has worked out perfectly. So, and presumably, Andretti will now do the swap.
Müller is down on energy to us.
And that is the swap happening. So now this is important for Andretti. They want to get Müller to defend from Wehrlein, even for a couple of corners, just to buy Dennis a little bit more time. And he's done a great job there into turn 3.
It's working nicely for Da Costa at the moment there as well. He's pulling out a nice advantage, about 1.5 seconds or so, and he's still got another attack mode remaining. So if he can increase that advantage, he could be set to take that final attack mode deployment and hold on to the lead of the race.
Sam Bird's been given a 5-second penalty, by the way, for causing a collision.
Move being made there for Wehrlein, getting better of Müller.
You can use even more energy. You can use even more energy.
So Wehrlein now up through and into the podium positions once again, and saying that he can use more energy. He's got enough expendable left for the end of this race. 14 laps to go at the end of this one.
Interestingly there, Porsche...
Or Da Costa into, sorry, just Da Costa into the attack mode there, but coming out crucially ahead of Pascal Wehrlein. So that's working out quite nicely for him then.
Yeah, Da Costa managing to stay ahead of his teammate, but interestingly, Porsche have chosen to let him take attack mode on that lap, because Pascal Wehrlein, he's only got about 45 seconds more attack mode at the minute to use than Jake Dennis. You'd think he'd want to make the track position count, but now he's got his teammate in between the two of them. That could be quite costly for Pascal Wehrlein.
But I think they were conscious of the fact that Da Costa only had 4 minutes available, whereas obviously Wehrlein had the 6. So I think their priority is to get one of their cars, and hopefully both, ahead of Dennis here. And at the moment, the top 3 are all in the same power mode.
2.5 minutes left, so you have 1 more lap than him. You have 1 more lap than him.
And the subtext to that is, be patient. You don't need to pass him on this lap. You can do it when he runs out of energy. You should have an advantage. So sit back, bank the energy for when you need it to actually get past.
Smart strategy then from him, but he's going for the move.
Waiting.
Yeah, up the inside into turn 12 goes Antonio Felix da Costa to take the lead of the race away. Back from Jake Dennis, into the stadium we go, and no way that Dennis can retaliate. So it's Porsche's 1st and 3rd, with the Andretti Porsche now of Jake Dennis in 2nd position here.
Porsche powertrains 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment.
No surprise there at all. One of the most successful manufacturers. They've won every single race in Gen 3 as a powertrain manufacturer, have Porsche, and they are now leading, as Karun said, 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th in this race. Across the timing line we go to start lap number 24. All of the top 3 in attack mode at the moment in the final stages.
I think it's interesting looking to the gap back to the likes of Oliver Rowland, John-Eric Vergne. They've still got 6 minutes of attack mode still to use. So even though the gap has opened up quite significantly to the front three, the last few laps they'll be on a charge.
Dennis was a little bit deep into turn 3 there. That might leave him under pressure here from Wehrlein, who looks for the move on the outside into turn 5. I don't think he's going to make that one stick. And of course, the disadvantage for Wehrlein is that Dennis is in exactly the same position in terms of the usable power, but he's on a great run coming up the inside into turn 9. Can he make it stick on Jake Dennis? He can! Wehrlein goes through and into second place. It's Porsche's now back in first and second.
Yeah, that's a costly mistake there from Jake Dennis. I mean, being in the same attack mode, you want to keep track position, and in being in attack mode for Jake Dennis, he's lost out to both the Porsche powertrain cars, both Porsche cars. Da Costa, Wehrlein really making attack mode count.
Look at the gap now that's begun to appear between the top 3 here. They've really started to push. Muller, bit of a cork in the bottle actually, with Rowland, Evans, Vergne and Günther to an extent behind.
Yeah, but I think that's tactical, isn't it? They're trying to protect Dennis from Rowland, Evans and the 2 DS Penske's, because they still have attack mode left, so they will still have a pace advantage later in the race. So at the moment, Dennis is now out of attack mode. Da Costa's in the pound seat because he's got an extra 30 seconds there, and further back, Rowland attacking Muller. So Rowland's getting a bit fed up of being stuck in that train behind Muller, and he's now got ahead.
Rowland's also got one more attack mode deployment available in this race, so if he can close the gap down.
Dead.
This is another point that we would need to talk about in this race as well. Tyres, softer compound of Hankooks here for 2025 in Formula E. And teams, drivers have all been saying this weekend the front left tyre, which takes a lot of lateral load, especially through that 180-degree final corner of the Peraltada, they're saying that tyres are going to be absolutely critical towards the end of this race. So those who maybe have a smoother driving style or are able to eke out more life in their tyres could be at an advantage in the closing third of this race here.
They're coming up to lap Dan Ticktum, who was obviously in that first lap incident here. So I don't know, look at Da Costa. Watch how he's going to pull away from us as we ride on board with Pascal Wehrlein here.
Copy. So we are 0.2 up on Antonio. 0.2 up on Antonio. Stay be efficient with you behind him.
So team radio there as we come across the timing line. So 10 laps to go here in Mexico City. Da Costa, Wehrlein, Dennis, 1, 2 and 3 down in towards the first turn. Rowland still with one attack mode deployment, but he's a fair old gap off. He's about 2.5 seconds away from the top 3 at the moment.
We mentioned earlier about tyre degradation. It's a factor that as we come into the later stage of this race, those that have saved their attack mode, this is where potentially attack mode, the advantage you get from having all-wheel drive could be even more significant. So the charge we expect the likes of Oliver Rowland, John-Eric Vergne, Günther to all make in the final few laps could be exaggerated by the likes of Jake Dennis really starting to struggle with that tyre degradation.
Yeah, as you said, a lot of drivers outside of the top 15 have not yet taken their attack mode deployments. De Grassi, Nato, all with attack mode available, as well as the likes of Cassidy and Buemi. So we'll see how they decide to play their strategy later on in the race, if they're able to take advantage of the fact that they have not yet taken that deployment, or any of their deployments, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, isn't it? De Grassi and Nato haven't taken any of their things, and we've only got 10 laps to go, so they're running a slight risk of not, you know, if we get a yellow or safety car or something, they're running the risk of wasting that. But Nato has, in fact, taken it now.
Yeah, there must be pipe in the commentary box into the drivers' helmets at the moment, because, as you say, that Maloney, Nato all go into their attack mode deployments for the first time, and you can see how close it is here. So there's an opportunity for those drivers now in attack mode to take advantage. Van Dorn going on the inside of De Vries. Beckman looking to try and defend against the 2 Neon McLarens of Barnard and Bird, who sit in 12th and 13th place there respectively. Driver's eye view from Sam Bird at the moment. Team radio for him.
Okay, Sam, our mission now is to protect Taylor. Mahoney behind us has 15 seconds remaining. Then Jake 2 cars behind, 5 minutes 20.
Voice of Stephen Lane there, race engineer for Sam Bird. So very much a defensive move for Sam Bird and the Neon McLaren team for that strategy at the moment. Look, though, at Günther and Vergne. Vergne on the inside against Mitch Evans. Both of the DS Penske's now in attack mode and splitting the Jaguar TCS racing car into the stadium section now.
This will be interesting for me to see the difference in lap times between the 2 DS Penske's in attack mode to the front runners we've got, because you also will give a lot of information as to how much we can expect Oliver Rowland to close the gap to the front leaders. And
you look at this, it's going to be easy here for Max Günther on the inside of the Peraltada. A snap of oversteer, but 4-wheel drive and an extra 50 kilowatts of power is no match for Mitch Evans, and for Max Günther, he now goes up through and into 6th position. Don't forget about voting for your PIF driver of the race as well. When you see the QR code come up on your screen, scan it and let us know who you think is the driver that has performed exceptionally here this afternoon in Mexico City.
So we see the two Porsches up at the front. So this is now a straight race in terms of strategically. They've all used their attack modes. They've got similar sort of energy. We heard earlier 0.2%, so negligible difference between the two Porsches, and Jake Dennis behind, of course, with the same powertrain. So this is now a straight motor race without any form of strategic game to be played.
And they've got to be careful here. They don't hold each other up because, like I said, there still are cars behind that have got their attack mode to use. You've got Jean-Eric Vergne, who took 8 tenths out of the leaders on the last lap using attack mode. Oliver Rowland has now taken his 6 minutes of attack mode. So this is going to be where it gets interesting.
Got yellow turn 12. That's David Beckman in the Cupra Kiro, who's gone into the wall, not for the first time this weekend. I wonder if he's going to be able to get that car going. If he can't, it looks in a bit of a precarious place, and we could see a late race safety car. And look at the drivers in attack mode, especially the likes of Oliver Rowland, Vergne, Günther, etc. This could be absolutely detrimental to them. We'll wait and see what happens. It's a double yellow down at turn 12, and it all depends as to if the German can get the car going.
Hey, attention all teams, please be aware there's a car stop
now.
Drivers
so they're coming up
left
in turns 4, 5.
at the exit of turn 12.
Race direction there, we were hoping to get that, but we didn't quite manage it for one reason or another. So
this is Vergne and
again,
Rowland.
please be aware, car drivers left, exit of 12, respect the flags, please.
About 3 seconds behind.
So down into the chicane we go.
Right, here is the double yellow, and look for the car's still there. So it's away from the racing line. Scott Elkins, the race director, choosing to let the race carry on. Safety car's been deployed.
There we go, so safety car is deployed then, with 8 laps to go here in this race, and that is hugely detrimental to Oliver Rowland, to Jean-Eric Vergne, to Max Günther, to anybody that's in active attack mode, but specifically those who waited till later on. And we were talking about this earlier on, Billy, and it's come back to bite their hand off.
It definitely has indeed. I mean, they were on their way to closing that gap using the attack mode they had. I mean, it depends on how quickly they can recover that car and get it off the track and out of the way, because Rowland has still got 4 minutes of attack mode, and he's now going to be bunched right onto the back of the cars in front.
I tell you what, the guy to watch out is Mitch Evans, because he has not activated his attack mode. So when the track goes green and gets cleared, he will have 4 minutes of attack mode with the pack completely bunched up. So just like we saw in Sao Paulo, we can see Mitch Evans potentially making some places up towards the end of the race.
Well, Christmas come early again for Mitch Evans, quite potentially then here. There is David Beckman's Cupra Kiro, stranded down at turn 12. Also, a few other drivers who've still got active attack modes to activate. Taylor Barnard, Robin Freint, Norman Nato, Nick Cassidy with another deployment remaining here. Let's see what happened to David Beckman, though, in the Cupra Kiro. So he's got a Lola on the inside. There was contact.
He just sort of turned into him.
Man, De Grassi shunted into me. I'm out.
Well, let's have a look here. So we're on board with Beckman. He's got De Grassi down the inside.
Broken steering, isn't it?
It looks a little bit like you just said, Corinne, that he's not quite timed the switch back. He knows he's up the inside, and he's just turned a bit too early and caught the rear corner of De Grassi there.
I don't think he realised De Grassi was going to come past. And okay, it was a lunge from De Grassi, but he's totally entitled to do that.
And he made the corner.
And he made the corner. So I think in hindsight, Beckman will watch that video back and think, I could have avoided that.
So one thing to mention here in this race, there is a possibility we may have some added laps in this one. If the safety car is out for more than 3 minutes and 10 seconds, we will get at least 1 added lap here in this race. You can see our virtual race engineer says that De Grassi cannot take all of his attack mode anymore in this race, because he's still got 8 minutes to activate, and there's not going to be 8 minutes left of this race.
Unless we get some added laps.
Well, yeah, quite potentially. Let's see what happens. There is David Beckman. Unfortunately, 2 races in Formula E for the Cupra Kiro team and 2 DNFs for him. We'll be able to reset as we head into Jeddah, into February. But now the Porsche Taycan safety car out on track, bunching the field right up.
We heard earlier Taylor Barnard, Sam Bird, the McLaren team in general talking about strategy about how Sam Bird was going to help Taylor Barnard out by blocking the cars behind. This could pay off for them, McLaren again.
Copy, and we hold position for now. Hold position for now.
Yeah, but then he has to increase the pace. How is it possible that Dennis is following with 2% less energy?
Copy. Stay calm, stay calm.
Okay, so Wehrlein, their team radio, safety car in at the end of this lap. So at the moment, 6 laps to go, and it's Da Costa, Wehrlein that lead, and the field is right bunched up here. Rowland in attack mode has still got some deployment left here, so it could be Christmas come early for Oliver Rowland and for Nissan, and he's about equal on energy here as well.
And watch the restart, because he can accelerate with the 4-wheel drive now. Watch him go. Yeah, we're on board with Rowland. Watch when he puts the power down. Can he out-drag Jake Dennis down towards turn 1?
This is going to be easy, surely, for him. Green light is on then, and we go side by side. Oliver Rowland on the inside of Jake Dennis, down into the first corner. The Briton up through and into third place. Next target, the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches. A golden opportunity falling into the hands of the Nissan team, and a possible opportunity at victory sending their way. And Rowland's taking advantage of it. He's trying to find his way through. On the inside, he lunges up to the underneath Pascal Wehrlein and goes through into turn 5 and turn 6, and now he's going to have the traction advantage on Antonio Felix Da Costa here as well. Da Costa knows that. He defends into turn 9, but surely Rowland's going to be able to try and find his way through. Oh, contact there between them. Rowland on board we ride, and now he's going to have the advantage of traction, and Da Costa tries everything he can to defend, but Rowland is through and into the lead at turn 12. Oliver Rowland in the Nissan leads, and to the delight of the Nismo Nissan team, it is now a golden opportunity for the Briton to try and take the victory. But there's another safety car here. What's happened? It's Mitch Evans, I think, who's come a cropper.
At the chicane, it's coming out of the chicane. Mitch Evans has come a cropper there. So that's going to make it very tricky for well, Mitch Evans was the one, wasn't it, that we thought was going to do the 4 minutes, but even Taylor Barnard to take his attack mode. So, yeah, look, Evans, his steering's broken. You can see the wheels are askew. So we'll get a replay shortly, but that is a real shame for Mitch Evans. But Oliver Rowland, he had 1 lap to make it count, and God did he make it count. Made up all 3 places to get himself into the lead.
Hugely exciting there from Oliver Rowland, getting the better of the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches, and well, disappointment there for Mitch Evans. 0-0 stuff. The victory in sensational style in Sao Paulo a month ago, and unfortunately for him, it's a DNF in round 2 here in Mexico. What's happened here also to Eden Mortara? He's down in 20th place, so I wonder if those 2 have had a coming together, and that is why the Swiss-Italian driver is now down pretty much plumb last in this race. We'll wait and see exactly what happened, and hopefully we'll get a replay of Evans' demise in this one. But now the Porsche takedown safety car out, and by my reckoning, we will get some added laps now in this race, which means it won't go 36 laps, probably 37, maybe 38 if we're lucky. And you wonder how many fingernails Tommaso Volpe is going to have left to the end of this race, Billy.
I suspect not many, if I'm completely honest, especially with what was a difficult weekend for them in the end at Sao Paulo, with the overpowering situation and Oliver Rowland having that win snatched away. This might feel like just returns for Nissan and Oliver Rowland if they can somehow, off that magnificent lap where he made up 3 places, somehow take the victory here.
So now the field all neutralised once again. We got 1 lap of racing action. The safety car came out. The safety car will then go in as Mitch Evans' car is recovered. It was down in the chicane, and we know it's a bottleneck area, that part of the circuit.
Yeah, the marshals have done very well there to get the car out of the way so quickly. Right, here we go. So now they're all out of attack mode. They're all in the same power mode, but Rowland is going to be under pressure from the 2 Porsches, and he's gone for it. He's gone early with the restart. He hasn't waited till he's come out of the stadium section. He's gone for it in the stadium section.
And Rowland knows that he needs to try and take advantage of that lead that he's got to try and increase it over Da Costa, to not allow the Portuguese driver to attack down into the first corner. He's got a comfortable margin as we come across the line and get green flag racing back underway. Down in towards turn 1 we go. Dennis looking on the back of Pascal Wehrlein for a possible podium place here as well. Out of turn 2, into turn 3 we go. So it's now Nissan leading Porsche, leading Andretti. The 2 DS Penske's there a bit further behind as well. There's still a few drivers who've got 1 attack mode deployment left in this as well.
Yeah, Da Costa's got about 2% more than Rowland. So we've got to keep an eye on whether the laps get added. It is nearly a flat-out race, probably is a flat-out race if we go to the normal distance. But with added laps, we've just got to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, Da Costa being told to focus on Rowland according to the team radio that we heard. And no surprise there at all. As we said, golden opportunity here sits in the hands of Oliver Rowland and for Nissan.
Taylor Barnard, he's one to watch. 4 minutes of attack mode left. The field bunched up. All the drivers will see him in their mirrors very shortly, I'm sure of that.
So through into the Peraltada we go. You see the two DS Penske's, John-Eric Verne in front of teammate Maximilian Günther, and look at the plethora of drivers now going in for their final attack mode deployments in this race. We believe there may not actually be any added laps in this race because I think the safety cars were split up. That will be why.
Crucially, Taylor Barnard, as we see, like you just said there, Tom, no added laps. Taylor Barnard had Robin Freins behind him, so even though he took attack mode, he hasn't lost out track position. So 3.5 minutes for the McLaren driver to do some damage here.
Yeah, but, you know, so Buemi, Di Grassi, Mortara are going to get excluded from this race because I don't think they will be able to finish their attack mode. We've only got 3 laps left, and they've got over 5 minutes. So, unfortunately, they're not going to get it done in time. Yeah, it's a big shame there for him. Let's see what happened to Mitch Evans on the right-hand side of your screen. I think it's going to be with Mortara, possibly.
I think you have damage.
Idiot. Yeah, out.
Let's have a look. So bottlenecks up there through him, and then bang. Oh, was it the Andretti actually? I beg your pardon.
Muller, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Nico Muller, who he comes to blows with. Over the back wheel, slightly airborne, broken steering for Mitch Evans, and a DNF then in this race. So 3 laps soon to become 2 to go. It's Rowland that leads from Da Costa and Wehrlein. Da Costa knows that he is going to have to try and have a couple of laps of his life here, Billy, in order to be able to attack Rowland, possibly on the final lap for the race lead.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do. Half a second is the gap, and Oliver Rowland is a fierce defensive driver. He'll really position his car well. So I wouldn't expect to see Da Costa make any outrageous moves. He's got to play it sensibly with Oliver Rowland because he'll be fighting aggressively for this victory.
Oliver Rowland never finished on the podium here in Mexico City. We've been here 9 times, and it could be, as I said, a golden opportunity for him. He's not doing anything too rash at the moment, defending fresh air or anything like that. And Da Costa also just putting his car in exactly the right positions as we come in towards that chicane. This is where Evans met his demise a handful of laps ago, which brought out the most recent safety car. And you wonder exactly what it's going to be like in terms of remaining energy for Da Costa, because all well and good, he might have more energy over Oliver Rowland, but he might not have the opportunity to use that, such as the distance left in this race here, Billy.
Yeah, exactly. Not too many laps left. Just looking at the difference from the drivers that have got attack mode, Taylor Barnard was a second quicker than the leaders on the last lap. He's up into 10th, so he's in the points now, but he's still got a lot of work to do. I'd expect him to maybe be able to get up to 7th, about there.
Well, given the fact he started down in 19th on the grid, and he said that points were not going to be easy to come by, that will be a very welcome opportunity for him. So 1 lap then to go here in Mexico City as we come to the timing line. It's Oliver Rowland who leads from Antonio Felix da Costa, from Pascal Wehrlein. You can see Rowland there with 3% energy. Da Costa has got a little bit more expendable for him, but the problem is he might not have the opportunity to use it because, as I said, there's only 1 lap left to go, and you wonder how high the heart rate now Tommaso Volpe is, the Nissan team principal here.
Yeah, we're coming up to turns 4 and 5, so he's running out of opportunities here, isn't he, Da Costa? Now, one coming up into the chicane, but he's not quite close enough here. It might end up needing a lunge into the stadium.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is it's so difficult to make your move stick. He needs a really good exit coming out of turns 10 and 11 does Antonio Felix da Costa, but it's nice there from Oliver Rowland. There's no opportunity for Da Costa to attack as we come through into the stadium section. It'd have to be a Dan-dare move on the inside, and I don't think Da Costa is going to have the opportunity to lunge through. He has a half look as it's all concertinas up through the stadium, past the fans, and it's nose-to-tail action. It's going to come down to the final corner of this race, and Da Costa is trying everything he can to get his way through on the Nissan, but round the Peraltada we go for the final time. Energy is absolutely critical here in this one, but it is going to be surely a first victory ever in Mexico City for Oliver Rowland and Nissan. Absolutely sensational for the Briton. Da Costa in second, Wehrlein in third, just ahead of Jake Dennis. What a drive, what an opportunity, what a race from Oliver Rowland.
Hey guys, attention all teams, this is race control. As a reminder, car 23, 13, and 1.
Absolutely fantastic.
Need to stop at turn 16, which is the park permit area.
Tommaso Volpe and the Nissan team celebrating, well, a double podium for the TAG Heuer Porsche team as well.
That makes up for it.
Oh,
wow!
Cruelly denied an opportunity to fight for victory in Sao Paulo at the season opener a month ago, and now he manages to get his just desserts with a win here in Mexico.
Let's try and talk to him. Oliver, it's Karun up in the commentary box. Congratulations. That restart off the safety car worked perfectly, didn't it?
Yeah, you could say that, Karun. Thank you. I love you guys. I knew I had like 60, 70 seconds left of the 350, so I went for it. And, it paid off, I think, in Sao Paulo. We're obviously extremely unlucky with the safety car and the red flag, but here it kind of came to our rescue. So, yeah, super happy. Nissan did a fantastic job, and let's get the season going.
Congratulations again, and yeah, absolutely good, good recovery after the bad luck in Sao Paulo.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Thank you.